What's going on, guys? DrumQuig podcast episode 35, and we're changing it up a little bit. Every now and then you need a little bit of change, and got a very special guest with me because he's somebody who I don't want to say was a drummer, who is a drummer, but also started his own record label. So let's give it up for the founder of Big Eleanor Records, NoNo. How you doing, man?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you again for sharing your platform. I'm doing really well. Just inspired and motivated.
Absolutely. So I love the stuff behind you. I'm going to jump right to it. We already
Sure.
talked about the fact that I picked a Primus poster randomly, and you've got Primus sitting behind you. That was not on purpose, guys. Like that literally actually happened. So I'm like 4 for 4 when it comes to doing that. So, I kind of just want to get right into it and start from the beginning, because owning a record label, not exactly the easiest thing to do, or, the realm that you're in. So talk about like that transition of going from musician to being a label and having to kind of look at it from a completely different side.
Yeah. Started out as a drummer, more punk rock bands. And in that realm, you do things like throw your own shows, release your own music, make your own connections, just kind of everything, just navigating it yourself. So in the process of, spending years as a drummer and putting on shows and finally getting to, get in the studio more and learn more about the promotion of an album, in having my hands on all that, it made me realize not only this is something that I feel like I could be successful with, this is something that I enjoy doing. I enjoy making the connections. I enjoy talking about my own stuff. Like if someone's going to represent me, it's going to be myself.
It's gonna be you. Yeah.
Better. So it did start out releasing my own rock band, punk rock releases. But that was, we're years after being a drummer and being in different bands and just kind of like, enjoying the process and not really taking it as serious as, someone who really is committed to it.
Of course. Yeah.
One day woke up and just really committed to understanding and throwing my life at the creation of music. And once I did that, I realized not only, can I have as much success as the fellow person in this underground scene, I can also probably prove a little bit more passionate most of the time too. So just kind of started promoting my own stuff and made the switch to, now I do more hip hop based stuff, but that's because I want to give back to communities that I don't have an ability to, do with my own physical ability. So
I like that. And that was going to be the next thing I asked about, talking about like the punk rock and like being in that scene and then going to hip hop. Like, what was the kind of the biggest shock or the biggest like eye opener going from one genre to the other?
yeah, and I tread lightly because I respect both sides of the things. I've existed equally now at this point in both sides, in punk rock and in hip hop. So this is all observational, but there's a lot of kind of like the attitude where like in the punk rock world, it's just help each other out, look to help each other out, go out of your way to help each other out. It's not a what can you do for me mentality. And sometimes in this underground hip hop world, I get faced with a lot of transactional, what can you do with me type of conversations that kind of stunt the growth of building before it even has the potential to grow.
Absolutely. And, we've talked about it before in the show and even expanding to the punk rock. But if you go to a punk rock show, if you go to a ska show, if you go to a metal show, mosh pit opens up, somebody gets knocked down, there's 5 people trying to pick you back up.
Number one rule.
No one's trying to hurt you. No, like there's always the one guy. Let's not completely dismiss it. But generally speaking, everyone's there to uplift, everyone's there to have a good time, and everyone's there to make sure everybody stays safe. And I feel like you're using that same kind of mentality on the production side of it, where it's like, listen, this isn't just, this is about community. This is about, and these are things you've observed. It doesn't mean that's where it is everywhere, but, there's the things that you've seen.
And I enjoy, that's one of the things that I pride myself in, taking, what I've learned in this punk rock DIY underground world that I've existed in, since 9th grade, and just bringing some of the things that I value very highly that, helped save my life as I was growing up and helped provide these types of scenarios in the underground hip hop world. I'm not saying that without me, these things wouldn't exist or nothing like that, but
No.
I need to do my part because I've experienced so much positivity over in this rock world, whether it be participating or being a spectator or any way, shape, or form. So I feel like I wouldn't be doing my duty as a fellow creative, not trying to supply that over in, this hip hop world that I exist in now.
Well, and I think that's the general consensus is that it's about competition instead of community, and that's the wrong way to look at it.
It is.
It happens in every medium, whether it's photographers, musicians, it doesn't matter. It's always going to be there. And you have those people, there's going to be those people who will take advantage of it and become those transactional people, like you said. And you're
It's
going to
fun.
have those,
God,
and
God,
that
my bad.
happens. But you're also going to have those who actually want to give back and want to help others. But we have to create a fine line between what's helping and what's hurting.
And that's like the fun thing that I've navigated early too, is because in this punk rock world there is, the mindsets of what we just explained, but at the end of the day, like I am a pretty competitive person with what I do. So if I do something, like I want to be the best, like I want to run someone over, like I'm here to do that job and I'm going to do it better than you. And there's nothing wrong with that. And if you don't like it, do the job better than me. And in the rock world, sometimes that type of mindset, like isn't the people don't really like that. So like I always been somewhat of a little bit of an outcast over in this rock world because of, it's like, obviously I'm here to help. I push the scene forward to the best of my ability, but it's like, yo, like, why would you not want to be the best at what you're doing? And in the rap world, there's a little bit more acceptance of that. So it's been fun, understanding and realizing things like that helped me stand out in the rock world that, kind of now I found a home in the hip hop world and embrace some of these attitudes. But it was fun just navigating the rock world. Just like, yeah, like, cause you know what I mean? Like as time went on in the rock world, like as rock history went on, like modern rock from the 60s to now, it's like it has been more, it just like the timeline it's been less and less cool to be good at your instrument. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, look at this guy trying all hard, or look at this guy. Like, it's like, no, like, we're here. Like, if I'm picking up an instrument, like, I'm doing it to be the best that I can be. And I hope you are too, because you know what I mean? Because that's what it's all about. But I think that's also been interested in rock world, or at least that's the perspective that I've kind of gained, where it's just like there's more behind the music, which is fine, like more meaning, more messaging, but also it's like I feel like it's been just less embraced to just be flat out good at your instrument.
Well, and it's because you've got the jealousy factor and you've got, drummers. We talk about the age of social media and how lucky kids are today. And even, not even just kids, like anybody to learn an instrument, everything's there. If you need to do anything with your car, it's on the internet. If you need to do anything, that's helpful. But to watch somebody come into their own as a musician over the internet is still one of the craziest things I can think of. And I think you're right, because we have those people who get so good that people go, I'm never going to be that good. And they kind of shut down.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't have that mentality. It's that competition. It's the competitive nature of, well, I can't be as good as this guy. So I guess that's it.
And that's where like style comes into play too, because obviously there can only be one best at every type of style or every type of thing. So if someone is over here just like, and you don't think you can reach their level of ability in that direction, just start looking at another direction. Like, you know what I mean? Figure out your own style and then figure out your own what puzzle piece that you can contribute to the what's going on. But yeah, and because I've been revisiting a lot more. I've picked the drums back up recently. Like this year has been like a real big picking the drums
Nice.
back up, writing, like, start writing with people and really like embracing the drums again as an instrument. And I just been like gravitating back to 70s rock again, like early 70s rock, where it's just like, dude, these guys just like, they just want to get on their instruments and rip. Like, you know what I mean? Like, go. And it's like, there's just so many drummers, and it's like, it's not like that now, where it's like, you can just name like you can name drummers and you can name contributors to, the world of drumming and stuff, but it's not like Mitch Mitchell, Keith Moon, Neil from Rush and
Yeah.
like John
I
Bonham
was like,
and
Neil's on that. Yeah. Bottom.
Baker, and like I literally, those are all drummers that were active at the same exact time, like literally releasing music the same exact year. It's like, dude, there's not lineups. And then you look at guitar and bass and singers, and it was all there in every direction. It's not like this is like abnormal for just the drums to be good, but it's like, yeah, revisiting like old 70s, like just early 70s, just rock, where it was just like, it's still a lot of like blues in the guitar, but the drums were so jazz influenced, it seems
Yeah.
like. So it's just like listen to like Black Sabbath and you know what I mean? Like these guys are so jazz influenced, and as a drummer, like jazz drums is like that's the pinnacle of drums. Like it just is. So
I've said it once, I've said it before. Jazz and metal have more in common than anybody will ever give them credit for,
it's
because
so
it is an assault on your senses. And listen to old, even like old symphonic music. Listen to some of that stuff, and you're like, Flight of the Bumblebee is just the one I'm going to think of.
sure.
That is not just a regular song that you're like, hey, Timmy, go ahead and play Flight of the Bumblebee. Like,
Yeah.
you're going to be like, oh my God. But it's amazing. And I think the metal aspect has the same thing. Obviously, it's just a little bit heavier.
Yeah. And like and that this is one thing that I've like kind of realized of late is just like, yeah, the guitar, like that's blues. Like they're blues, just heavy blues riffs, but it's like you can't like the drums are so busy and so heavy, like that's not blues. Blues drums is just that's a backbeat. Like that's
Yeah.
like so it's just like no, like it's a mix of like jazz drumming, just heavy jazz drumming in this early metal, like what Deep Purple is and stuff like that is heavy. That's heavy jazz drumming. Like that's literally heavy jazz drumming. That's not blue. Like it's blues, but no, that's more jazz. So it's like that's why it's exciting because it's like I never realized that like because it's always just been like early rock is just they're stealing from all the blues people. And it's like, it's true. Obviously, listen to Led Zeppelin 1 through 3, but like now I realize like what the drums are doing. And like, no, like early heavy rock is like a real mixture of just raw jazz and raw blues, just like the most powerful jazz and powerful blues mixed together.
There's only so many beats, there's only so many chords, there's only so many things that can be done, but it's in the order that they're done that changes everything.
Mm,
And I think, we talk about that and like not even like in a rock sense, but listen to Fleetwood Mac before Stevie Nicks. It's a
mm-hmm,
blues band,
mm-hmm.
completely different music, but all those influences were still there as they continued on. It was there in the same way. So, we talk about going back, let's go back with you. Like, when was the first time that like drums were your thing? Like when you picked it up and you were like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, I remember. So I remember 8th grade. There was just like a drum. I don't even know where I was at. It was like a party or just something random, like family party or whatever. Just random. There's like a band playing or whatever, and like they took a break and the drum set was there, and I was just like, "Yo, like, do you mind if I sit down and just like, I've never sat at a drum set before. Like, do you mind if I just sit at your drum set?" And I did, and I just like not like could play a beat or whatever, but like could and like it just felt like normal. It wasn't like like what I mean,
Yeah,
robot.
when
Just
you
like
do that, yeah,
yeah,
everybody knows that one arm that we all did at the beginning.
yeah,
Like,
like it like no, like immediately just felt like this is just like immediate, and I was just like this is cool, and like I like listen to rock, and 8th grade you're getting into rock bands and exploring more and like your taste and stuff. So it was like come 9th grade, my some of my friends came down to my house and they knocked on my door and they're like, "Yo, we heard that you could play the drums, maybe." Just based on me like playing drums at a friend's house or something like that. They're like, "We're starting like a punk band, like come up," and they had a drum set and everything. So from like 9th grade on, I just went up to my friend's basement and we played, and it was just punk stuff. You know what I mean? Like 3 chord punk stuff, but that's what we
yeah,
listened to at the time. So like that was the best thing we wanted. That's what we wanted to create. So it was like we went up and just played like Ramon songs and like random punk songs that sounded like Ramon songs and whatever. And like, so from that point on, I was just like, this is it. Like, I need, I just need to be playing the drums or I will be less happy. And it was from 9th grade on. And it was just like, from that
jeez.
point, I started, exploring into like, listening to more music and stuff. So it's like, I really got into like, drum based rock music. It was like Rush took over my life at that point in time. And, I discovered things like, Primus and just everything that I listened to, like, was this like level of technicality. Like, I just opened up a chamber of technicality after I started playing punk rock music. It was weird. It was like, I listened to punk rock music, started playing it, and it opened up this chamber of my brain that was just like, I need the most technical music possible. So from 9th grade on, it was just like, we were playing shows by the end of 9th grade and stuff like that. So from 9th grade on, it was like, if I don't have a drum set near me to play at least, once every couple days, like I am unhappy.
And before I forget, dude, your next band is Chamber of Technicality, because that name alone, like you said that, and I'm like, that was too great. I love that story because you talk to so many people and they start playing drums from, 3 years old, 4 years old. They get into
Yeah.
it really young, or it's like, you know, elementary school, but like that eighth grade marker, like that's where everything changes, because at that point, like your music tastes are starting to be shaped
Hmm.
completely to your own, I would say.
Yeah. And
And I,
it's, yeah, go ahead, my bad, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's fun because like a lot of those bands that I picked up and really like valued when I was in like ninth and 10th grade are still my favorite bands to this day. So it's just like yeah, so that's like funny how it is just like, yeah, I expanded, and I don't know if everyone else is like that. It's just like, yeah, once you start like finding what your own footing is, like that sticks with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I was 11 or 12 when my dad gave me Dream Theater, like let me
Okay.
listen to it for the first time. And it was Scenes from a Memory. And like that out 25 years plus later, we'll still throw it on and be like, man, this is
Yeah.
so good.
And
So good.
that's like what happened. It was like, I don't know what, like, so Rush is that's my band. Like that's been that's my band.
Shout out Danny
Rush is the
Drumsticks.
greatest band of all time, but it's like it was like I remember the first time I heard like Limelight, it was on some rock greatest hits, and it was like the second I heard Limelight, it was like it changed like my exact course of like. And then it was like fun because it was like then you ask people around like, "Yo, you've heard this?" And like obviously your friends are like, "No, not really." And then like you ask adults, and still to this day, like everyone isn't really like the biggest fans of Rush. So it was like half the people I asked were like, "Nah, we don't like that." So that made me like it more because it was like, all right, like I was like this punk rock kid, so I was like, oh wait, like no one to know, like this is like the least like band right now. Okay, they're probably my favorite band then. Like,
I mean, that's perfect. I still like distinctly remember 2112, like the Chronicles, the like double CD. It might
yup,
have been, it might have been four CDs, but I think it was just two. But I remember that like distinctly in my dad's car. And remember, like, I remember going to California when I was like 13, a thrift store for like $5, and I had no idea any of the songs on it. I was just like, oh, this is Rush. I
that's
was like,
so
I'll
funny.
take it.
We
Like,
have the
I'll take
same.
it.
We have like the same thing. That's funny. So mine was Limelight. It was on like a rock compilation, like greatest hits, like random. It was like the only Rush song on it. But I was on the way back from a field trip, and it was like I was just going through CDs, and it was like a longer trip. So I was like, all right, what haven't I listened to yet? I put it on, and there was like honestly, I don't remember much else. I remember really liking Billy Joel, "Only the Good Die Young." I remember that was on the CD, and like, and then by the time I got to track like 12 and it would hit Limelight, I literally listened to it for 2 hours straight on the ride back, like just back, just yo, play it again. And I went to the next song, and it was probably like, some Santana song or some like Boston song, which like shout out, but like,
It wasn't Rush.
go back to Limelight, yeah, and then yeah, go back to Limelight, and then a year or two later, I'm at the mall with my friends or whatever, and I go to the CD store, and of course, the cheapest Rush CD is Test for Echo. So I grab
God, yeah.
that, not knowing any of the songs, and bring it back, and I'm like, oh, what? Like, what is? Which is like I like Hold Your Fire, like I like that maybe more than the average Rush fan, but like Test for Echo, like no one likes that more than the average Rush fan, like.
No. And I know my dad's going to listen to this and be like, we got to talk about this. But that was the thing, is that getting introduced, like I was introduced to Rush first and then Dream Theater. And then it like shaped, my music, but also like time shapes your music way more than you really think about. And, I say this like, haven't listened to as much metal lately, but I've been listening to a lot of like funk, jam band, and like,
Yeah.
High Fade. Their drummer was on the show. Heath was on the show just a couple episodes ago, and I'm going to see them in 2 days, which will be well after this podcast comes out. But it's a completely different style of music. And I think that's the fascinating part, is that being a lover of music and being able to appreciate everything from jazz all the way up to, prog funk, completely different kind of realm, but being able to still discover new music that you didn't know existed, I think is probably one of the best things about music, and people just underestimate that. So,
And I agree. And obviously, I'm here to dedicate my life to the creation of music. That's my gifts, and that's what I'm here to do. And I love it because it's like, I know there's still stones that I haven't turned over yet. And there's things that I even have heard before, just haven't even felt inclined to explore more. And like, I know at some point in time, I'm going to be excited to explore, like different sides of like, I don't know too much about like R&B and like stuff like that. It's like, it hasn't really excited me yet, but I know at some point there's a whole list of music and sounds that I just even haven't explored yet. And the more I wait, the more the sounds are going to pile up. Like, you know what I mean? Like time goes on, more stuff's going to be released. That's the blessing and the curse of where we're at, and like now where it's like everyone talks oversaturation and everyone can release music, but also there's so much music out there that is so exciting. It's like that
everyone could do a podcast.
Yeah, which is cool, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like and obviously like, the people who are about it will stick around and the people who are good at it will rise to the top and things like that. But like, dude, the fact that there's so many just at any moment in time, we could wake up and a new sound could be put out, and there's more possibility of that than ever before. Like that is the most exciting thing that like has me waking up as a music fan. Just like
absolutely.
And a lot of the new sounds that have come out recently, like not the biggest fan. Like I see where some genres, and there's some genres that got advanced, like have advanced with certain sounds and stuff, but like the genuine like newer sounds that have been coming out of late in hip hop and rock hasn't been the most exciting to me, but like a lot of people are excited, and I love fearless creating. So,
well, and you've got Megadeth behind you, you've got Primus behind you. People will be like, oh, it's the same genre. That is not the same. Like again, the technical aspect of the Primus stuff, and we could talk about that for days because I think I've seen them 3 times now.
I've seen probably 5.
Yeah. And this was the Farewell to Kings that I can't ever point the right direction.
Yeah,
so
I've seen them on the
not only that, I put the Primus one there, but we talked about Rush and they played, that was the best part of the set. It's so exciting how, like you said, sometimes there's music that comes out and you go, I don't get it. And guess what? That's fine. Absolutely fine. And to be in your position where you're in a different realm other than the one you grew up that you loved and that you know all the history about. That's a huge plus for the music industry in general.
It is. I one thing I value about what I get to bring to the table and the opportunity that I get is to bring new perspectives. That's what excites me, and that's why I have to, try as hard as I can because I know I have new perspectives that I can share over in this other side. And trust me, I spend my time studying hip hop, and just because I was a little late to the party doesn't mean I'm not well versed and I'm not, doing my due diligence and existing in it every day. Like the second I discovered hip hop and felt like it was a space for me, it has saved my life every day since. So I'm here to give back. Obviously, I keep saying it's like that is my job. But yeah, it's fun to do my best to take advantage of the opportunities I've been given to provide a new perspective.
Absolutely. So then, fast forward where we come to the creation of Big Eleanor. Like, talk about how the name came to be and like what that was like to fully transition. Because again, we've talked about you kind of dipping your feet in there and kind of giving back to the community. But what was it really like to make that switch? And, how did everything start?
Yeah, so Big Eleanor, at that time frame, it was, a couple years ago, I was still playing the drums and I was creating with 4 different songwriters. So at that summertime, I released 4 different projects, 4 or 5 song projects with 4 different songwriters in the year span. So I was like, for those 2 years, like I was really head down, drumming, studying different drum like styles and my favorite drummers and like because they were all like kind of slightly different influences. Like one was this type of sound, one was this. So I was able to really jump from different genre. And in the process, the very last one, I was like, I am releasing this one myself. So the first Big Eleanor release is actually my most recent rock or some of my most recent rock stuff.
Sweet.
But as soon as I started the label, I, knew I was starting it to do hip hop based stuff. Like the label was my way of being able to now start jumping into other genres, and hip hop was at that time still, my biggest influence more than rock even. Some of my rock bands are named after hip hop lyrics and stuff like that. Like, so
you kind of knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, that was my biggest influence at the time. So it was just like, first day I started Big Eleanor, I jumped on Bandcamp and just went to the hip hop side of things and just looked at whoever, like, I didn't know, because I was like, I don't know where even rappers release music. To me, you go to Bandcamp, Rock Band Bandcamp, like that's just kind of like the website. So I went to Bandcamp and I was like, all right, well, if someone is releasing music on Bandcamp, clearly they think the same way I do. So let's go to Bandcamp. And I found the artist one of the artists I work with still today, the first day that I started Big Eleanor, because I just went on Bandcamp, and he happened to release a project like a week or two before that. So it was like very fresh on the page, and I listened to it and I was like, this is great, like whatever. So, it was, and if you listen to some of my early interviews, even when I was in the like as a drummer, I was on interviews as a drummer. It's like you can hear I was saying like my job is not to finish my music career behind the drum set. So it's all things that I kind of knew. I laid out like where I'm at now. I kind of knew the path even 5 years ago. I had it all kind of laid out. But yeah, starting Big Eleanor and it was funny because one of the main reasons is because, I released a rock project. We pushed it to underground blogs and playlists and stuff as the rock band before it was signed to Big Eleanor or whatever. Like, hey, the drummer is sending you this project, review it. Got medium response or whatever. The next project, sent it out as the same person, like same name, but instead of saying I'm the drummer, I said, I am from the label, and literally triple the amount of response. And I was like, do you guys know this is the same? Like, it was literally the same laptop, the same table, the same chair, human that sent the last one. And now we're like, oh, it's from a label? Like, hi, hello. So that was like, as soon as I did that, I was like, there is way more value to this than what I could even imagine.
Absolutely.
As soon as I noticed that, I just like leaned into it. I leaned into it. I was like, all right, like, if we all want to play, if musicians are all playing the public perception game, like, guess what? I can do that too. So I just leaned into it. It's like, I am a label. And people were like, this guy's serious now.
Even though it's the same exact guy.
Same outfit, same guy, same voice, like same phone number, same everything. So that was fun. As soon as I noticed that, and that was like right away, it was like, the first release was a Big Eleanor release. So I knew that within the first week, you always have to run a label, because if you want to release music, like obviously the point is for people to listen to it, and it gives everyone the best chance to listen to it as of now. So that was a fun observation that I had, where it's like, it just brought me back to like such like the DIY early like punk hardcore days. It's like, I'm sure, Greg Ginn was starting SST. Like, he probably was thinking the same thing. He's like, oh, well, if it's from a label, they'll take me serious. And then he sent it and they took him serious. And then that's probably why he started running SST serious, or like, Ian Mackay at Discord or anything. It was probably just like, oh, if we're a label, they'll take us seriously. And it's like, yes.
It's kind of sad.
The answer is it's true.
Yeah. I was going to say it's kind of sad, but it is true, because having the label means somebody else has committed to you. Somebody else has believed in you, and somebody else has influence on you in their minds.
Yep. And to me, like, being in the underground, I see through a lot of the like facade and like, everyone, like I see through it like very well. So it's like, also it's like someone else did the research on you, so I don't have to. Like, like you said, you have the backing, but the backing also means like, oh, this guy's safe, this guy's professional, this guy has a story that people care about. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, also like, you haven't even did the research on the label who sent that to you. You don't even know if the label's real or not that sent this to you. You just know that a label sent it to you. But it's like, oh, I don't have to now do the research. And yeah, it's funny. It was a fun observation.
Well, I mean, that you said that was 5 years ago. So kind of fast forward to what today looks like for you, and how that's kind of changed, and how you've learned from, those interactions and what that's done for you.
Yeah. So 5 years now, or, a couple, years down the line, Big Eleanor now has 3 active artists that were going all, under the hip hop ish genre. But, the cool thing about it is they're 3 kind of different styles of hip hop. So the main goal, kind of back when I was working in rock bands, was not to do anything twice, not to release the same style, just, keep the audience and the fans just really excited and not knowing what's next. So, having 3 artists that are kind of different sounds that get to fulfill all of my 3 favorite sounds of hip hop, that that's exciting. So that's kind of where the label is at now. There's 3 artists. There's a team of myself and 3 other artists, and we're just kind of maneuvering through the underground of hip hop right now. We're using a lot of the ethics, a lot of the mindset that we brought to the table from the very beginning. So, the ideas of how to maneuver, how not to maneuver, what's safe, what's not safe, how to work with other people, how not to. These have been the same consistent ethics that we've been maneuvering for 5 years now. And I think that is what kind of shows in the whole Big Eleanor team. And that's kind of the perspective we get. It's just people know what to expect from us, and they know to expect, one of the higher standards in what we're doing. And they just
For
know
sure.
we're always going to show up with those things. Just and they're it's fun. I'm getting back into playing, drums and stuff like that. I have, I still go to a lot, like I go to equal the amount of underground rock shows that I do to rap shows. Like I travel around the city here. Like you'll see me at any kind of show. Like I love running around in a circle at the rock shows and then going and put my hands up at the rap shows. Like I love it all. So it's fun. We just all have a wild range of influence over at Big Eleanor that boils down to just like a very, very good work ethic and a very high value for creativity over anything else.
For sure. And I'm so glad you used the word creativity specifically there, because a lot of the times we love to talk about tangible media on the show, specifically vinyl, but I saw some stuff on your page where you've got the cassettes. So I've got to talk about how that came to be and how difficult that is in today's realm of trying to just get cassettes. Like I can't imagine it's as easy as everything else.
Sure. So yeah, actually, like what's fun in the underground rap world is there are a lot of contributors that aren't necessarily, performers. They're not rappers or beat makers or whatever. So there are people, I guess, like a me who can't rap but want to contribute. So there are other pages, a good bit of other pages, like just like how in punk rock there's just random labels that just do it for the love, and so there's labels out there in the underground rap world. So we've been blessed to work with a few of them.
Nice.
To make some of this happen, people who also believe in Big Eleanor, believe in the artists that we're working with. And then it's one of those things where it's like my artists, like it's pounded into their brain. It's like, yo, if you got merch, you know how to sell it. You go do a show, and the second you're done your show, you walk to the merch table and you stand there and you sell it at the show, and then we do it again at another town the next night. So it's not, it's funny because it's like it's difficult because everyone expects, oh, because I'm getting the views online or I have the clicks, it results in sales, which is not the case. Which the formula has been the formula since the beginning of time. It's like you buy merch, you do shows, that's where the sales happen. And you're not gonna, you have to spend more money to do the shows. Obviously, you have to get there, and sometimes you have to put them on yourself and do all the hard work and actually perform and do the hard work. But it's like that's just been the formula since the beginning of time. So fortunately enough, our guys know, if you put us next to Minor Threat in 1982, we would all be acting the same way. So
I love that, because you're right. There's a different element to watching a band perform and then seeing sometimes that lonely guy at the merch table. And it's almost like you're like, wait, was that the guy up front? You're never going to see Rush standing at their own merch booth.
sure.
And, we're using Rush just because, it's Rush.
Because it's Rush. it's
you're never going to see that, because that doesn't make sense to them anymore. They have people to do it. They've established enough of a brand, a lifestyle, a following, whatever you want to call it. But sometimes even bands that I've been listening to for 10, 15 years walk over and you see them at the merch booth and you're like, this is amazing. And they cycle through, like not all of them are there at once so that they can kind of each be a part of it.
Yeah.
And I just think of a band, Capstan. We've talked about them on the show, but I'm like, we found them in the strangest way possible from a rickshaw driver who happened to be the bass player of the band. And we end up seeing him like 2 months later at a local show. And I just remember like finding out more about the band, went to high school with the drummer, had no idea. And I'm like, how did I not know this? But when you go to those shows, every single one of them's at that merch booth throughout the night. And I absolutely love that, because it's that callback to the fans of just, hey, Thank you for coming here. Thank you for being here. But also, we're still putting in the work. We're still doing
Hmm.
all of this. You look at Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter still does all their own. They're their own label, their own merch. Like they do everything themselves. A band like that doesn't have to do that, but they do it so they can have full control over everything that happens. And so,
And I've had, even on a small scale, like, obviously we always make the joke is just like, man, I wish Good Set Man paid the bills. Like, you know what I mean? Just like if you could eat off of Good Set Man, but it's like, yo, like there's a time where like one fan will say that one thing and you're just like, all right, like I will do another 100 shows now because you know what I mean? Like
because someone else might say that. Someone
well, it's
else
just
might
because
say
I
it.
even heard that already, just because I know that exists out there is like, oh, just the fact that this even exists already, like I have to just like, like respect it. It's like, yo, if this exists, like like that's the hard part. The fact that like something like that even exists, that someone believes in you or something, like that's the hard part. Doing 1,000 shows, that's easy. All you have to do 1,000 shows is do 1,000 shows. But to have someone believe in you, there's no formula for that. It's just like it either happens or it doesn't. So if that magic happens, it's like, dude, like we're here till the end of time. And the only way you really can even open yourself is having that connection with the fan. And like, especially now where we're talking about like modern media and stuff like that, but also like modern communication like sucks even more where it's like I like you can't take a text for even more face value than you would never like ever could. So it's like if someone texts you like, yo, you changed my life, like unless you are looking them in the eyes and like feeling the sentiment, like you can't really fully accept that just because words are words now to people and in the phone or what, you know what I mean? Like people just not use words to their power as much anymore because of texting. Like people are taking the power out of some words. So it's like because of that, you need to like have someone look you in the eyes and tell you like, or you just need someone, you know what I mean? You need someone to look you in the eyes and be like, yo, do better next time. And like if he tells me that, I'll be like, okay, like I gotta do better next time.
Yeah.
Like third, like and I've never told a fan specifically that, but it's like, when a fan's on or not. It's like you gotta like as a fan as a fan, I do like obviously I don't want to just be a yes man to my favorite band. So it's like if a band's awful, like they're messing up, it's like you're not gonna get as much love. And it's like you need to know that. Like
I think it's okay to not like to have a favorite band and not like everything because I feel like you're being more constructively criticizing about them. I think that
like
was the word I
as
wanted
a
to use.
musician, like I want like as a friend, I want my other friends to tell me if I'm like if I dress whack, like tell me. Like if I'm not like, what I mean? If I try something new and it doesn't work, like don't just be like, yo, sick, and then like it's not sick. Like, no, like and there's nothing wrong because it's funny because like music is it's all emotion, it's all emotion, but also like to create, you have to take the emotion out of it, like because you can't if someone tells you your creation is bad, you can't just like take it personal. Like, you know what I mean? There's no personal. So it's just like for something so fragile and emotional, it's like you can't have emotion in it. It's like such a fun balance to like have to navigate. And it's like until you can unlock both sides of that understanding, like you're either too sensitive of a creative or you just like don't understand like the emotional part of creating.
Yeah, and to blindly like a band, there's Dream Theater albums I don't like. There's Dream Theater songs I don't like. Guess what? That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to like every song, and that doesn't make you any less of a fan. If anything, it makes you more of a fan because some people just like stuff because it's that band.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, listen, sometimes there's that song, and you go, Test for Echo.
Test
Definitely
for
not
X.
liked. Definitely not liked by a lot of people. Presto, I know had got some flack. Vapor Trails, Snakes and Arrows. If we're going the Rush route, like
Honestly, now quick side tangent. The post 2000s Rush is better than what people give it credit for. Like I hate, and like maybe that's because that's when I discovered them and I have like the feel for them. And it's like I know the mixing for Vapor Trails was bad, but the songs were not bad. Like they weren't like, they're not all like going crazy on their instruments, but it's not about that. It's about lyrical content and mood because of what dude went through. So it's like Vapor Trails is good. People hate Snakes and Arrows. Like I don't stand for the Snakes and Arrows like hate because I think Snakes and Arrows is just a better Roll the Bones. Like it's like kind of similar
mm,
concept, like but just better. Like similar concepty, kind of a straightforward rocker. Like it's kind of a similar Roll the Bones, just more updated. And then obviously Clockwork Angels is everyone's like,
Clockwork Angels is
yeah,
brilliant.
yeah. And
Well,
I same, like I love that too. But like the hate of Snakes and Arrows, I don't stand for. The hate of Vapor Trails, I definitely don't stand for.
well, it's not even the hate for those. It's like they're less liked by a lot of the fan base. And I know I really hope somebody comes on here and tells me I'm wrong. But you look at them and they're like, okay, what Rush albums are Farewell to Kings?
Sure.
We're going, all the way back to the original, even though that wasn't Neil, which for some reason a lot of people don't know, but I don't know how that's possible. And of course, like I can't think of any other ones now just because I've named off all the other
Yeah,
ones.
because we named every single one. How many do you want to
Listen,
name?
everybody hated Metallica's Black Album because they sold out. And that's still one of my favorites. And I can like that and love Master of Puppets. It's entirely possible. And I see the doubt on your face, and it has to do with that Megadeth album.
What happened? Yeah, I'm here to avenge Dave Mustaine. No, I mean, I don't know. I would have to look at the track list. I never really revisit the Black Album. Obviously, the first four are just like so good that's like what I listen to when I listen to Metallica. But I don't know. I would have to. I mean, I don't like obviously understand man and all that, but it's like there is a power to writing songs that are that big. Like obviously, like we can make fun of them or call them corny or just be like, oh, I've heard them a million times or they're basic. But it's like, dude, to write a song that is still like the stadium song and the song like that is there's so much power into that
listen
make fun of it like you just can't like and like
listen to the last two songs on the Black Album.
Yeah,
My Friend of Misery and The Struggle Within. Just go listen to those when you have time.
Word.
And those, tell me you don't love those, because really those two are really niche. Like nobody's talking about those songs. Like nobody's bringing those up in regular conversation. So, I mean, there's two Larses behind me, but that's only because Funko makes two different Larses. But no, I will put down a lot to say that those songs will kind of change your perspective on that album. And if they don't, guess what? That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great album, and it's one of those things where it's like people will like they'll hyper focus on like a single album, be like, oh, the Black Album's bad. But if you zoom out of like Metallica's discography, it's like, what did you want? Master of Puppets again? Did you want
Injustice for All again?
Did you want something again? Like, did you want Unload? Like load, reload, unload? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
man, Load and Reload got
but like
hammered by people.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm not mad. Like, I mean, they have the album that has the big stadium hits. It's like, cool. Like, they have 5 albums that are this and 5 albums out of that. Like, good. And their whole sense of the discography, like, let them have different sounds. And that's like one thing I like about, musicians will hold their bands accountable. But then at the end of the day, you have to zoom out. That's why, like, I value being a Rush fan and Rush fans because they're able to zoom out and be like, all right, like, I hate this album, but if you zoom out, it's like, it don't sound like this. And it's all these different components to make a full career where it's like Metallica fans don't think that way. It's just like Master of Puppets. Like, and it's just like, no, let them like a puzzle to zoom out and look at their career and then make a judgment. It's like, obviously they're not doing a good job, like, building their career out like they did the first couple of years, but it's like, like until it's the end of the career, you can't really say much.
But also here we are in 2026 with a band that started putting albums out in 1983 and is still relevant today.
And what's his name? James Hetfield, his voice sounds better than it ever did. Like, like I'm not even like saying that like it's like, no, like you listen to him on like when they performed on Howard Stern the other year and stuff like that, when it's just like clean vocals, like no, like his voice sounds way better than like good for him. Like shout out.
Yeah. I saw them last year. Amazing. It sounded absolutely amazing. So I mean,
there's all the memes and this, but it's like they got so big that the only thing you can do is make fun of them and stuff. But it's like Metallica's Metallica. Like, come on, like Metallica's second best band of the '80s. Like Metallica,
second best.
Yeah. Yes. There's one band that just like there's one band that literally put out albums like every year, and every album was good in the '80s. And it's like an obvious answer, but it's like. Yeah, Maiden.
I want to see that when they come. I don't know if they're doing Florida shows, but I definitely I need to make that happen because that's one missing from my bucket list.
Yeah, I saw Maiden. I think it was 2016 or something like that, and it was cool because it was like I don't know. Bruce Dickinson's just so cool. And he's just running around on stage and he's got the big flag and he's jumping and he's hitting like opera notes. And then like Bruce Dickinson, like Iron Maiden, like all of them are cool. But Bruce Dickinson's just like,
That was a highlight of my life. Is I got to interview Bruce like 2 years ago.
for real.
Completely unrelated to this. Like this had barely been born at that point, and I had the opportunity, and man, I took it and ran. And again, one of the nicest human beings I've ever talked to. He was funny, and his producer was texting me like, "Hey, wrap it up." And Bruce wanted to keep going, like he wanted to keep talking. And I was like, oh, this is the best feeling in the world. And I know that site's not, it's a shell of what it used to be, but that interview's still out there. My buddy, before he left the site, sent me the full
Just so you
side by side interview. So I have like the full unedited, unclipped one. And, a moment I'll never forget. So I feel like I owe it to Bruce at the very least.
Yeah.
To make sure I get to experience that for sure. So, around this time, I like to, give you the floor, like talk about the people who've helped you to this point and talk about any projects you've got coming up or, any shows you're looking to put on, like any events, like whatever you've got going on. Like this is your stage, man.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I am just very thankful. I'm not going to go down a list of names because, I end up leaving one out or whatever, saying one with a different, more happy inflection than the other. But I'm very thankful and blessed to be in this position that I'm in. I'm an underground artist. I'm a DIY artist. I am an artist and creative that's still learning his way. And I have people around me, like fellow artists, fellow people in the scene, family members, friends who are just very supportive of my decisions and back my creative ideas. And that is just the ultimate blessing. I walk around with an unlimited computer tabs open in my brain of different things that I'm working on and creating and brainstorming on. And to have the space and to have the understanding from the people around me it's the definition of a blessing. And that's why I try as hard as I can because I'm given this type of blessing from the people around me. And with that, what we're working on now is the 3 members of Big L. They're all got their next project released. Some of them even have multiple projects ready to go. So, we're talking a good 60 or 70 songs in the backlog between the 3 members that we're all just kind of like finalizing, getting cover art, getting music videos, planning shows and tours and stuff like that for. So second half of the year is going to be big, a lot of releases. I'm getting pretty active. Obviously I'm here. Like I'm like making sure I'm being a bigger help to the scene and not just like staying in my house and, creating. I'm getting out more. So there's just the second half of the year to into next year is going to be, a very highly present moment for Big Eleanor. Like we're just going to be present in the underground scene. And I'll leave it at that because everyone just has a lot of music to go and I can't put a release date on it because then that puts everyone in an uncomfortable position. So I would be rude to do that. But between the 3 members and myself, we're about to be really active.
I love that for you, dude. I'm 100% behind you on that, not announcing things. Because in the last like 2 months, I've literally announced stuff on the show and then it got rescheduled or it got pushed back. I literally wrote a list of the next 8 people that were scheduled for the show. And by the time I hit save on that list, somebody had to reschedule. Somebody had to move it because of a tour date. And I'm like, it happens. Like nobody canceled. They're just like, hey,
mad about it. But
I'm like, I'm not writing them down anymore. So I'm done writing them down. So this is where I take the moment. Joe, jerseys for drummers. I talked about this at the beginning. He makes jerseys for so many people. We talk, obviously, Carter Beaufort all the time comes up. Alex Petropoulos of Pigeons Playing Ping Pong. There's so many guys out there, and this is one of the most comfortable jerseys I have. We're working on our next one to be debuted in September at Florida Drum Fest. So I'm going to be there in person. My buddy BJ is going to be with me. Shout out BJ, because I know he's the first person every single week to listen to these shows. Like literally when I see the first view, I know it's him. I know it's him.
DJ.
So
what's up, DJ? Shout out in the future. Or shout out
my man is going to be there with me and we're going to be doing interviews. So anybody who comes by the table wants to talk, do like little like 5-minute interviews and I'm going to compile them all together. It's a super exciting thing for me to be out there. to be out in that community and be present. And, you talked about it a lot in the show. So that's something we're definitely a big part of. And the tickets for it are like $10 for the Drum Fest. So there's dozens of vendors. I think there's 2 other podcasts. Like, again, I saw 2 other podcasts and I immediately said, I can't wait to go talk to these guys. I can't wait to go see like what they do or how they do it. Like what everything, like, meet these people and kind of see where they stand. So stay tuned. Local record shop here, Tarpon Springs, Florida. We've talked about it. It's probably been about 2 months now since the unit above them flooded, ruined thousands of dollars of records. It was kind of a big thing. And anybody who, I've had people reach out and tell me they went on the online store and bought something. Didn't matter if it was $30. Like Doug and Amy are some of the coolest people I know. Super thankful to have known them, to have met them. And again, to see people my age still in the tangible media universe, still pushing and still getting people excited about vinyl and excited about CDs or whatever the case, cassettes. We touched on that a little bit too. Going with that tangible media. I know a lot of people that go to concerts. You guys are tired of not having tangible tickets. You're tired of not having a physical ticket anymore. You're tired of not having something like this. Stub Forge is on my page. You guys just use the link. You guys can create your own concert ticket. So you can do your own event and you could do Big Eleanor Presents and have actual concert tickets for those people who want to do it. So that's not a super push on you specifically, but I love having them. And it's one of the coolest things to go see a band and have them sign a ticket. Like there's a whole experience. And like you said, it's that text message. It's, hey, you guys did great. It's, hey, I made a ticket for you to sign so that I have this.
Yeah.
And so one of the coolest things there. So, dude, on behalf of myself, the DrumQuig podcast, Danny, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Super excited for what you've got coming up. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on it because I want to see these projects come out, succeed, and hoping that by the next time we talk, we're at 6 artists, not 3. We just keep moving and moving and moving. You're like, no, stay at 3, stay at 3.
Nah, we're pushing forward. Yeah, no, we're gonna be pushing forward. Don't worry. I don't sit still. I don't sit still.
Same.
Don't worry. Yeah, I don't sit still. So
all right, man. Well, you have yourself a great night and thanks for coming on the show, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Again, really appreciate it.
Hey, no problem.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed the show, please like, share, and subscribe to the DrumQuig podcast. Thank you so much.